to the distinguished ranking member. You are recognized.
Thank you. And I agree with Mr. Chairman in terms of Iran, no enrichment, but no funding proxies. We've got to stop their terrorist activities. Mr. Secretary, we all like efficiency, and every president has a right to review programs. But with all due respect, it just seems to me what's been happening is backwards. Congress, we created USAID as an independent agency. Then without Congress, the administration has unilaterally dismantled USAID. Now you're bringing some functions, you say, over to the State Department. So I want to ask you about what's going on with all these people who are working, first of all, who are working for the USAID. There's thousands of them all over the world, I understand. Some have been brought back, some haven't, and they have been what's called, I guess, some are waiting until June or July, and they will be permanently fired. Maybe you can give me those statistics. Under Title V authorities, if an agency function is transferred to another agency, you must hire the employees from the old agency first. Is that something that you're going to do?
Well, first of all, you're right about employees are in staggered return status. Some of them, frankly, are because their kids are finishing school or some medical need or a pregnancy. And so we wanted to be accommodating. We've actually allowed some to come back as late as September, October, depending. As far as the function is concerned, well, the function will be the same, in essence, humanitarian assistance, food aid, but it'll be conducted out of the State Department and with new contracts. And we are in the process today of hopefully by July 1st having personnel in place to assume these responsibilities, and some of them will be former USAID employees. In fact, we're involved in the interview process now. I can't give you a percentage of how many will be. There's some others that maybe have not done, we're not working at USAID that are interested in applying. And there are some individuals within the State Department that perhaps have done development work in the past that would seek to transfer to that as Foreign Service officers or career civil servants that could fill that role. But I can tell you for certainty that we have had large number of former USAID or soon-to-be former USAID employees applying for employment in the State Department in these different bureaus that we're setting up.
So I understand what's underway. What I don't understand is what was the rush about? I mean, to just upset people on a mission, working dedicated, no fault of their own. You've turned their lives upside down, but not only that, disrupted all kinds of programs. I won't go through that. Why was such a rush to do that without coming to Congress and working with us as partners? Because I'll tell you, it's maddening. You want us to give you money for another budget. And you want us to rubber stamp these actions.
Well, I would say that these are reforms that people have talked about for a long time. As I said, multiple secretaries of state have wanted to bring the function of foreign aid, humanitarian assistance, the like, under all of it under the umbrella of the State Department, and it never happened. And so I think in this case, quite frankly, there's just a real impatience to get to reform and to restructure. When you move at that pace, obviously, there's going to be some disruptions, as there have been. I've talked to several of you during this period of time about some of this in the process, and it was a lot of hard work, but we feel like we've turned the corner and are now heading in a direction of building something that will be able to deliver on the national interests.
Well, let me just say, in this case, not having patience is not a virtue, and I really hope that you're going to halt some of these actions till we can actually work with you. There are, as our ranking member said, there are congressionally directed programs like family planning, democracy, education, women, peace, and security. Are these things that you are planning to continue in the State Department?
Yeah, nothing that is statutory is changed in the organizational changes. We do not touch any statutory functions. Obviously, if Congress passes an authorization, or its own reorganization, and we would hope it would look a lot like ours, if we could work with you on it, then that would be ideal because it would make some of these changes permanent.
The thing is, we don't know what your plan is. It doesn't sound like you know what your plan is yet. So how do you know what your staffing needs are? I mean, you're firing all these people before we even know what the plan is.
Well, that's in USAID. There's been no real, we've about 180 employees is the only numbers that have been released from the State Department because we got rid of an entire bureau, the Global Engagement Center, and one other. So that's different from USAID. I think that's what you're referring to in terms of the large numbers. As far as our plan, well, here's what we did. We sort of sent a proposed organizational structure. And we're now receiving comments as a result of that proposal, including from members of this committee and your staff and people inside of our building, and then we hope to bring you a congressional notification on reorganization on the basis of that comment period.
I'm getting hammered, but Mr. Chair, I just have one very important question left, very quick, which is this, because we want to work together. But I want to ask you whether you will commit yourself to using the funds that we put in to the congressional directives of this and the next budget.
Well, that's a decision OMB will have to bring before you in terms of what they seek to do with the remaining funds that are at this point unspent.
All right, we're
back.
going to move on, and again, thank